please do me a favor. Let me know in the comments where you're watching this from. I would really appreciate it. But today, you might have seen from the thumbnail that we're talking about the Morgan Amp Suite by Neural DSP. This is a plugin that I've been using for, it's only been out for maybe 4 months, something like that. And pretty much as soon as it came out, I just had to have it. I've been using two other Morgan plugins, or two other Neural DSP plugins that I'll talk about in a little bit. Those both have been on so many recordings that I've done here at the church, recordings that I've done for outside projects. And I gotta say, Neural DSP is just killing it. The Tone King Imperial Mark II was the first one that I went, yeah, I need that. And so we buckled down and paid the $100 for it, and gosh, it's been great. It's been great recording with that. The next was the Architect. Is that what it's called? By, oh my gosh, I am drawing a huge blank. Corey Wong. Goodness. And it's an incredible plugin. Love that. And I also got this all down at 100, SLO 100. And so the Morgan Amp Suite makes the third for me, and I think it might be my favorite, if I'm being honest. So let's just go ahead and jump in. So this is the Morgan Amp Suite by Neural DSP. Time of this recording, it should be running somewhere between $100, $129. I think it's normally in euros off the top, I believe. But it's a excellent plugin. This gives you, not only does it give you an AC20, which I was into it just right from the get-go because it was an AC20 plugin that sounds like an AC20, which is great. But then it's the PR12, so that's going to be more like a Princeton flavor, and then the SW50R, which is going to be the Marshall kind of vibe, and they all sound awesome. So you've got your three main food groups, right? Your Fender, Vox, Marshall, all in one, but it's Morgan's take on all of those, which is fantastic. I'll get to some sounds here in just a sec, but just show you around the plugin. Up here, you've got 4 pedal options, compressor, overdrives. Both sound great. More tube screamery, more blues breaker-y ish kind of a thing. And then a really great sounding tremolo. Then we already saw the heads. Then you've got cab options. The only thing that you don't have in here as far as cab options is concerned is like switching out the speaker. It would be kind of cool if you could do that, but to be honest, it sounds great as is. Most of the time I don't even bother messing with this because it just sounds great. If you do want to do different mics, you can do off access 57, obviously, 409, 421, all kinds of stuff. Ribbon, run. You can do the combo, the 121 and the 57, like so many great records have been recorded with. But off the rip, it sounds pretty great with the 414 and the 57. So I normally leave that alone. You've got a graphic EQ, which is really handy for just quick tweaking. Like you hear a certain frequency that's either lacking or a little excessive. It's got a high pass and a low pass on it. Super handy. And then you've got your time-based stuff. So here's a delay that you can just tailor it to do whatever you need it to do. And then a reverb. Both sound great. I also want to point out, so you've got a transpose on here, which is super cool that it's got that on here. It's very handy. You've got a doubler. We'll go through that in a bit. You've got a built-in gate, mono stereo inputs. If you want to run a pedal board in front of, so run your pedal board into your audio interface, and then you can use this, just basically like kill all the wet effects, kill all the drives, and use it just as an amp sound. I've done that many times, and it sounds great doing that. For me, I think nowadays the power is in being able to just plug in, dial in a sound, and then I'm off to the races. The pedal board makes it a little more complicated. But let's hear it. Enough of me yapping about it. Also, and this is quickly going to become necessary, it's a great built-in tuner that I need to use. And it automatically mutes, which is great. It's very accurate. Just nothing to complain about this tuner. It's quality. There has been situations where I've just needed a tuner, and so I'll just plug this sucker in. I'll add the plug in just for the sake of the tuner, which is kind of wild, but yeah, and if you want to hear yourself tune, you can, but typically you don't want to hear myself tune. So here's the Vox sound. Yeah, the thing just sounds killer right out of the gate. There's so much you could do with this plugin, but there's so much power in that you right from the get-go. It sounds killer. So I really appreciate that. I don't enjoy things that you plug in and it takes 15 minutes, an hour to dial in something that you enjoy, and this right out of the gate feels really, really good. Also, something that they did with this that they didn't have to, but I think it's rad. Each amp head saves its own settings. So if you make which granted they all have different knobs, if you make a change to one amp, like crank the gain or boost the volume or reduce the volume, whatever, it's going to save that for this instance of the plugin, and then when you switch back and forth, it recalls all of those settings. So I can show you here in a sec. So if I've pulled down the volume on the Princeton, which it sounds like this. When I flick back over, the Vox sound is right back where it needs to be. So I think that's rad. I think that makes it super handy, especially if you're in a scenario where, for whatever reason, you're trying to jump back and forth between sounds. You could, like, at the start of a recording session, like say you want to use all three amps, you could dial in each for a purpose. Like, you want your Fender to be your clean sound, and then you want your Vox to be like kind of your crunch sound, and your Marshall to be your lead sound. You don't have to use them that way, but just saying. If you do that, you could go in and then just drag in that same instance, just duplicate it onto multiple tracks, and then flip back and forth between them so that you've got, here's your lead channel and whatnot. I think it just makes a quicker recording. But yeah, if you're in a situation where it's like, well, here's what this sounds pushed, and then I want to hear this dialed back, and it every time you adjusted one amp, it adjusted the other, I think it'd be annoying. And there are some products that are like that. This one's not, and I kind of dig it because of it. But yeah, let me go over to the Marshalls because we haven't heard that yet. And of course, if you want to go nuts with it, you can crank it up a little bit. Too hot. Too hot. To be honest, that might have this backwards. I'm just killing my outputs. Sorry. I kind of dig the way that sounds. Let's explore this onboard reverb here. Oops. Hanging out with the Princeton. So if I... Huh. What am I doing wrong there? Okay, dwell and reverb interchangeable of some sort. Oh, so that's probably like the spring length. So if you go all the way up and then it's pretty short. This will be longer. Makes it super bassy for some reason. But can obviously adjust that a bit. I am also... I should clarify real quick. So because this is a HH Strat, for those who don't know, this the 5-way switch is going to be bridge humbucking, bridge split. Middle position is both humbucking, neck split, neck humbucking. So my beefiest, darkest is the neck humbucking. And then it gets a little bit thinner here. Yeah. A little thin, a little bright. mess with this a little bit. Okay, so you got your cut and your power. We're gonna leave the power all the way up. I'm gonna pull volume back a touch. You could do worse. You could do way worse. Pull power back. Yeah, kind of love that sound. So the Vox sound, obviously really easy to get a ton of juice out of it. I am not completely sure why I'm having so much trouble getting the Marshall sound to break up like that. Because I should be able to just crank the level and then it should be. See, it's just getting louder, which is fine. I typically lean on the other two more than a Marshall sound. So that shouldn't come as much of a surprise. But so these drives, okay, let me jump back over to this. I'm going to chill out this drive here. Let's make this less overdriven so you can hear what the drives are actually doing. So a little bit of drive, but nothing crazy. The Tube Screamer side. Sounds pretty great. I hate playing without any sort of delay or verb on. I know. People say it's a crutch. That just feels so much better. Let me know. Are you a person that has to have some sort of what effects on? I need to know. The dry sound is a thing, but I struggle with it. Yeah, pretty great sounding Tube Screamer. Obviously, you can adjust to taste. If I'm doing like a single coil thing, you can use that to kind of give it a little juice. Love it. Love it. And then, of course, maximum. Sounds like a really fizzy Tube Screamer, which I think is pretty accurate. Typically not the way I use Tube Screamers. Yeah. Okay. The more... I am assuming this is sort of blues breakery. I don't know. I could be wrong. At any rate, it feels a little more transparent, a little flatter in the mids. Doesn't have that mid hump that the green one does. So just drawing my own conclusions there. But dual EQ on it, which is convenient. Use it as a boost. Works very well. And then if you really need it, And of course, if you know me, you know I love stacking. So I'm going to put this kind of in between. Not too much. Without. A little clarity in there. And then let's just use this to boost into it. And if I switch over down here to the Princeton sound. Yeah, you're getting all kinds of mojo there. And while we're at it, might as well hear them all. Whew. So much gain on that. Lots on tap. If you're just tuning in, I am having a little bit of an audio issue with my streaming software that is causing a clip to happen here and there. So that is not present in either Ableton or the Morgan Amp Suite. That is a streaming issue that I have yet to resolve. My apologies, but just don't want that to reflect poorly on the good people of Neural DSP, because I really do love this plugin, and it doesn't do that if I'm not streaming. So yeah, this thing just sounds so good. Let's try this trim real quick. Go over to the Princeton. You can tap tempo sync it if you want to. At its most extreme, if you're trying to go full Tom Morello or something. You'll kind of get there. You'll kind of get there. That's a wonderful extreme. Yeah. Something more in between. And of course, it's got the level control on it, which I'm a firm believer that every tremolo needs a level control, because there is perceived volume drop off every time you kick on a tremolo. So pretty great. Compressor. Let's get a little juice going. does that thing really well. Probably could kill the verb for that, but you get the idea. Mix control, I love it when a compressor has a mix control on it. Give you that parallel blend. Speaking of, I've got a video coming out this week talking about some complicated audio signal paths explained. So be looking for that. That'll be out midweek this coming week. So yeah, check it out. Or if you're watching this several days later, then it's probably already out. So look for that. Yeah, so I just, all of these are really great. So a couple other features I want to point out. So this doubler. Oh, I should also, before I get too far into it, I should mention this is going into one channel currently, but it is outputting stereo. You don't have to do it that way, but I enjoy the ping pong. So, you know, if you want to hear emphasize that. I love it. I love it. You can also yeah, so you can, if you're adjusting time and it's synced to the BPM of the song within the DAW, then you can just set it to whatever. If the BPM changes in the DAW, then it would follow that. So that's always very helpful. You've also got tape drive. So if you want to get nutty with it, let's just get aggressive. So you hear how my dry signal, my initial attack doesn't have very much dirt on it, but my delays do, which is cool. If you want those to stick out a little more, you can. You can also adjust the width. So no width. Everything's straight up the middle. Yeah, that's also nice. And then if you go crazy with it, let's try this. It'll do some self-oscillating. Sorry, had to. Got carried away. I love these sounds. So very, very useful. You can also, if you're going to go super ambient with the reverb, can get there. And of course, some delay would help. Can I also say that, I know this is by design, but can I also say that all of these look like they say organ? Just saying. I see the M, and it says Morgan, and every time I look at it, I have to think the word Morgan. Just saying. It's not a critique. It's just an observation. Just an observation, folks. So a couple other things before we get into anything else. I've got all my time-based settings all kooky. Let's do something like this. A little bit of that. Pull the decay back. It's just like a killer room sound. I don't know. It's just love it. Okay. Actually, this will be more cool if I do like something kind of rockin'. So kick this guy on. Without the doubler. And if you're listening to this without headphones, you're missing out. So throw on a pair of headphones or AirPods or something like that. Super wide. Without it. We don't use it for everything, but it's pretty sick that they have it on here. And it's a variable, you know? So if you want to make it... crazy wide, super out of sync, and then the most minimal. Back off. So I feel like the use case for that is if you're tracking something and maybe you recorded it and after the fact you went, "Oh man, I should have recorded that twice." But for whatever reason, you're like editing away from your instruments or something like that, and you're going back through, you're like, man, we should have tracked that twice, because I don't want it to sit straight up the middle. I'd really like to sit wide. Well, that doubler pushes your guitar way out wide, which would be great to like make room for stuff in the middle of the mix. So super handy as far as production is concerned. Really, really handy. Let's, speaking of handy, this is going to trip me out, I know. Let's try this Transpose. Haven't used this in a while. Go down to C, because we can. I feel like if we're going to do that, we need to make some adjustments here. you feel like it makes the signal sound a little darker, so you can maybe compensate for that a little bit? Am I crazy, or is that darker? Might just be in my head. Let's just see what drop E sounds like. Pretty sick. Not gonna lie. Pretty sick. What if, can I fake if I didn't have a bass? I feel like that's not miles away from where I want it, but I mean, it's sort of like short scale vibes. Pull the tone back a bit. Okay, shenanigans over. I apologize. I apologize. Shenanigans over. So yeah, it gets low. So maybe something if you're wanting to go kind of doomy with it. I feel like it needs more dirt. I'm gonna try over here. Have I used these sounds? Not often, but they're sick. Alright. Yeah, with the clicking and the popping and the ow. What about that with a little bit of drive or delay? Now, if you're doing that, should the delay be up the middle? It's kind of interesting. So, kind of a reverse of wet dry. Reverse of wet dry wet. It's like dry wet dry. That is probably about as close to owning a 7-string as I will get for the next couple of years until I, finally start that metal project. If you come up with a funny name for a metal project for me, please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear it. Would love to hear it. You guys have any questions? Let me know. Would love to answer questions. Moving right along. So it's also got a built-in gate. You'll probably notice a pretty fair amount of noise. This is also not a very conducive to quiet recording setup that I've got, because I've got multiple monitors and I'm facing them and stuff. But here's what it sounds like without it. Pretty good amount of hiss. I think some of that Let's see if I can remove that. That's a lot, guys. It's a lot of noise. And the gate makes it all go away. Still super low. Okay, back into an E standard. Yeah. So, I mentioned earlier, you do have the option to swap out mics if you so choose. Switch out mics, which is cool. Most of the time I don't mess with that, but you can like really go kind of nuts with this and like put stuff where you want it. Different distances, different positions on the cone, on access, offset access for in particular the 57, because that's like a pretty normal thing. And then if you just want to hear one of the mics, so let's do this with the go back. Do it with that one. Hear all those mids come back. Sounds pretty great. There's too many options there to go through that today, but yeah. One thing I did want to mention. So, if you're using this, plugging straight in, something that you should know: run your interface significantly quieter than you normally would. Reason being, your preamps will boost your guitar signal up to whatever level you run it at, and that will hit the amp sim harder and basically be simulating what it would sound like if you were running a boost into your audio interface. So it does sound pretty great, because it's like every time I adjust it back, I'm like, I feel like it's missing something. But if you want to hear the amps the way they would sound without a boost into them, run your audio interface way lower than you would if it were like a mic input. Significantly lower. So like for this, I'm currently running through a 2i2, and it is all the way down to 0, but on the instrument input, and that's just barely getting a little bit of green light when I dig in, and that's going to be as close as I know to get it. I know you can get crazy with the measurements and whatnot. If you don't want to do it that way, the other thing that you can do is just adjust the input level and set it where you normally would set a mic on an interface, and then pull the input level back. I prefer doing it here, but you can do it however you want. So something else that's cool, I haven't really messed with this. If you want it out of phase, you can go out of phase. Which is kind of wild. Pretty sick. Yeah, man, I didn't even touch on this. Check this out. Oh, now I'm pushing everything way too hard. Sorry, guys. Sorry. It's too much. Too much of a good thing. I'm going to turn some things off. I'm going to leave that on. Pull this back a touch. Pull this up a bit. Also need to bring back this handy dandy tuner. Too many dive bombs. Very handy. I mean, I did have this saying down to C just a second ago. Oh, wait. Dude, everything got all out of whack. But this is what I'm saying. It's a great integrated tuner. It works well. Get back in quick. Be muted while you're doing it. And it's always down here. So you got that, and then need a little boost in the low end. If you needed that, or you wanted to bark a little more, go full on scoop. Ultimate fizz, you can do that, which is particular. I don't know, can you? Oh yeah, if you double click these, they go back to 0, which is great. And then high pass, low pass, and you can adjust the whole thing on or off, which is also super helpful. So all in all, oh, and it changes colors. I didn't realize it changes colors with this. That's cool. Again, there's just things I'm discovering about this every time I mess with it. You can also, I feel like, maybe I'm wrong. Skins. Yep. Ah, the tweed. And here's the one that everybody loves. Oh yeah. That driftwood chillowitch. Things that only guitar players obsess about. Words like chillowitch. But it looks fantastic. But Twilight's cool too. Yeah, so you've got... And can you... If you change one, does it change all? It does. So that part is the same no matter what. Interesting. But yeah, you've also got a bright control, a bass control. There's a reverb on the Marshall as well. I mean, so much that I haven't actually touched on, and like I can't demo this thing out to its full potential because I'd be here for a week. I've just been really a huge fan of this thing, and feel like just about any guitar player could benefit from this plugin. So if there is one complaint I would have, it doesn't have like any type of like chorus modulation in it. If you want to get there within a DAW, if you're recording with this, you can use plugins into this. So it basically be like you use a pedal into an amp. So I'll demonstrate that real quick. Where did I put that thing? Okay, so in here I've got, yeah, this will just be a quick test. So if you drop this in right before, I'm just using this, I believe this is still a free VST plugin. Pretty great little chorus. It's very nice. But you can use a plugin like that in front of it, in conjunction, and then back without it. It still takes things like that really well. So if you need the combination and you need modulation or some sort of effect that isn't on here, know that it takes that pretty well. And then you can also that gives you the option to place that effect either before the amp or after the amp if you so choose. So lots of options. I've become a fanboy of Neural DSP. It's made workflow significantly easier, especially when it's like I've got 45 minutes and I need to get something tracked in between, whatever else I've got going on. I can plug in. I've already got a sound, and then I just have to worry about making my fingers do what they need to do. Super handy. So I will be fanboying over this thing until they come out with something even more amazing. But it's hard to think, man, what would I like more than them doing a partnership with Morgan? Not a lot comes to mind, if I'm being honest. So you let me know in the comments if there's a partnership that you would love to see Neural DSP do with another amp company. I don't know what it would be, but I just really have been enjoying this. So yeah. Anywho, thanks for all that popped into the stream. Appreciate you. And also, if you're watching this after the fact and made it all the way to here, you're a trooper. Wow. Really, really appreciate you. New video coming out this week. Excited for that. I think it's going to be helpful to understand some things. And then, yeah, I'm going to try to keep these live streams going. Next week, I got a couple of things I'm teetering on whether I'll do. We'll see. TBD on that. But if you enjoy this, as always, give it a like. And, let me know what your favorite ice cream is. That would be great. I'd love to know. If you like this guitar, let me know. If you like the Sparkle Telly, let me know. Yeah. And if you've got anything that you would like me to cover in a video, I'm always all ears. I respond to every comment, so it won't go on. It won't fall on deaf ears. I promise. But yeah, that's it for this one. Thanks for hanging out. And as always,